What's good with y'all, man? It's your boy Will back with another video. Now today, look what has came about. So the Arizona Cardinals have went out and fully cut Deandre Hopkins. Now this is a this isn't a post June cut. So they're just cutting him and taking his 22 million dead cap hit. So I'm pretty sure that means, now correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, I'm pretty sure that means that Deandre is going to be paid in full this season. So they pretty much just cut him, took the cap hit. Sounds like they're pretty much tanking to me, and then they're paying Deandre. So Deandre shouldn't really worry about what contract he's going to get on the next team he's with. So we shall see what's going to happen. Now, I made a video probably about a couple months ago. I ended up deleting it just because it was bad quality. It's one of my first videos I dropped on this channel. But it was, can DeAndre Hopkins and Deshaun Watson find a way to reunite? Now, getting into this. Before when I originally thought and made a video, it was before Elijah Moore got traded. It was before Cedric Tillman got drafted. So this is a very tricky situation. So today we're going to be breaking down if the Browns should want to go get D-Hop and if DeAndre Hopkins should want to come to the Browns, and do I believe that will happen? So first, should the Browns want DeAndre Hopkins? Now let's look at it as just from base of our wants and needs. We don't need a receiver, but we're not necessarily allergic to getting another one. That's how I feel like Andrew Berry, and that's how I see the team myself. Now, obviously, I'm not Andrew Berry, but let's take a look at what we got on our roster. Let's hypothetically break out who will be the wide receivers after the 53-man cut down. You got Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Cedric Tillman. I'm going to say Marquise Goodwin and David Bell. That's who your 6 people to be. Now, with that means you will be cutting Schwartz. You will be cutting Jakeem Grant. And you will be cutting, I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure that's the only people you'll be cutting. Schwartz, Jakeem Grant, and you'll be moving Demetric Felton to running back. If not, you're cutting Demetric Felton. So that'll be the 3 people gone with David Bell making him be in the last roster spot. But if you throw DeAndre Hopkins into this, now things get interesting. D-Hop, Cooper, Elijah Moore, DPJ, that's nasty. Might be the best wide receiving core in the AFC. Might be. It's going to be people mad at me, but 4 versus some 3 people in back at Cincinnati, I might take that 4. But then you got, all right, so you got them 4. Then you got Tillman. That's 5. Who's that 6th receiver? Is it David Bell? Is it Marquise Goodwin? Who's that 6th guy? We spent the 3rd round pick on David Bell. He didn't really get the ball that much. He wasn't really targeted that much. Do you cut David Bell? I think in that roster situation, you would cut, and this is getting a little creative. I think in that situation, you would cut Harrison Bryant. I feel like that'd be the way around it. I feel like the best way around it is to not keep 3 tight ends. Or you could cut bait somewhere else a little bit. Maybe cut Josh Dobbs. You know, maybe you go cut Josh Dobbs, and then you roster 2 people or 2. Well, you know what I'm saying. You roster a quarterback, and you bring in a 7th round receiver to keep David Bell on that team and add D-Hop. You could do something like that, and then bring in emergency quarterback if DTR isn't good. Okay. Now, that's the way around it now. That could be highly debated. Or you could just cut David Bell and hope one of these guys, hopefully one of these guys, if somebody was to replace that last roster spot for a 7th wide receiver, hopefully you cut somebody who can be practice squatted. So, don't know, because our roster is getting a little bit older. Teams are going to be chopping at the bits to sign somebody off our practice squad. So, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Now, the next thing. DeAndre Hopkins, as far as production wise, I feel like how good this guy is has been universally underlooked. Like, this is a top 10 wide receiver, and it's like people are not realizing how good DeAndre Hopkins is still. He's still a premier number one option on a championship team. So let's just look at DeAndre Hopkins' numbers real quick. 2022, 64 catches, 717 yards, 3 tuds, and 9 games. So that's what he had last year. Now, keep in mind, he was suspended for 6 games last year. Also, Kyler Murray blew his knee out. So a lot of those games was with, I forgot their back. They got, pretty sure it was like their third string wide receiver. He still managed to put up 717 yards with 3 tuds, 64 catches. And then 2021, he got injured that year, but that was also a crapshoot year for the Cardinals. 42 catches, 572 yards on 11.2 per catch. He had 8 tuds in 10 games. They just give you a perspective. The last time he did play a full season, he had 1,400 yards. In 2020 with 6 TDs. So for the Browns, or for his next team, I'm going to just say DeAndre Hopkins is going to be at around, I'm going to give him 12,000 yards, 12,050 yards, probably like 5, 6, 7 touchdowns, and probably probably like 80, 100 catches. That is still number one. That's right up there with Coop. I didn't go and look at Coop, so I actually took a deep dive and looked at Donovan Peoples-Jones. If you compare just DeAndre Hopkins through 9 games versus Donovan Peoples-Jones through 17 games, which will kind of be who D-Hop is replacing, or he'd be replacing Coop. But Donovan Peoples-Jones had 839 yards through 17 games. D-Hop had 700 yards through 9 games, almost half of his productions in a half of a season. So looking at this trajectory-wise, he would have been out again about 1,400 yards. 1,400 yards. Maybe you could even throw out a game or two. Let's just say he'd be at 1,300 yards. So projecting that he would have had about 500 more yards than Donovan Peoples-Jones, and probably about 40 more catches. So, major upgrade, just the guys to enlighten you on how good this guy is. So, if I'm the Browns, I do go out and make that move. Now, I make the move for a simple if I'm the Browns, I will attempt to make that move. The reasons why is, one, you don't want this guy to go to the Chiefs. You don't want this guy to go to the Bills. You don't want this guy to go to Baltimore. You don't want this guy to be a reason we don't make a Super Bowl run. You don't want to face this guy in a playoff. You don't want to give the Chiefs the overwhelming kick to be better. The Bills, the overwhelming kick. The Baltimore Ravens. So that is there. I don't know what NFC, and he also likes the Jets as well. Every team I looked at that he'll recommend, unless he goes to the Eagles, but you still might not want him to go to the Eagles. So I would do it off a sheer factor of he's going to be the best wide receiver, if not the second best wide receiver on your team by a large margin. He's going to take your wide receiver core into being one of the best 4 deep wide receiver cores in the entire NFL. And then on top of that, your offense is going to absolutely explode. We're having DeAndre Hopkins, Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Marquise Goodwin, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Cedric Tillman out there. They're going to explode. That is the perfect combination of weapons. You can't have more weapons than that in football. And then on top of that, he's played with your star quarterback in Deshaun Watson. Now, from D-Hop's perspective, what would make D-Hop want to choose the Browns? The Browns just got Jadarius Smith. They got Nick Chubb. They got every single position fulfilled besides maybe a second guy on that D line next to Thomason. But he already played with Deshaun Watson. You had some of your best years of your career with Deshaun Watson. You'll be pretty much a 1-year rental. And then this would be like like I said, a overkill. This would be the best wide receiver core you've ever played with. This would be the most talented team you've ever played on. And you're playing with a quarterback who's you already done it with. Now, excuse me. Now, what would maybe keep him away is like Kansas City. You know, you can go win a Super Bowl with Mahomes. Go win a Super Bowl with Lamar. Go win a Super Bowl with Josh Allen. That's all there. Now, with Kansas City, maybe it's a factor of, hey, they just won the Super Bowl last year. I want to win my own. With Buffalo, you see how Josh Allen kind of fizzled out. With the Ravens, you got questions about their health. Now, you put D-Hop on Baltimore, that might be the best wide receiver core in the league. D-Hop, Bateman, Flowers, Odell. That's nasty as hell. So he got options, man. He got options. And we shall see. We should really see. But you guys comment down below. If I had to make a prediction, I think the Browns would be top 5 on his list of teams that'll go get him. Now, will we go get him? I'm going to just be in a better. I mean, obviously, the odds is going to be no if we facing the field. But I think it's going to be either Cleveland, Baltimore, the Chiefs, the Bills, or the Eagles. Those would be my 5 teams, I think. You guys comment down below what you guys think going to happen with D-Hop. Also, if you made it this far to the video, like, comment, and subscribe. It's your boy Will, and I'm out. Peace.